Good day, everyone, and welcome at the Meticulous Moments podcast, where we facilitate community upliftment through leadership development. And today we have an amazing guest with us. He's none other than Wally Crowder, and he's a stunt coordinator, he's a director, he's also an author. Wally, thank you so much for being here today, and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Absolutely. I just also want to give a shout out to Ian McCranner, our friend, our mutual friend, who made this connection for us. Ian, you rock, and we are cheering you on with all your projects as well. Now, Wally, I like to make that connection between us in this room and the audience. And would you tell the audience who you are and, what your childhood was like? What was your childhood like? Let's start at the beginning.
Well, that was a long time ago. Yes, I was born and raised in Miami, Florida, which is probably the most beautiful place a kid could ever be raised. So I was into anything that had to do with water. I mean, I would go out in a fishing boat all day long and come back so sunburned that my mother would put me in bed and cover me from head to toe in Vaseline, which is the worst thing you could possibly do. But back then they didn't have sunblock. So growing up in Miami was amazing for a young man. I was into boating and automobile racing and sports and surfing and running from hurricanes.
Wow. I've heard about the hurricanes. I have a friend whose parents reside in Florida, and he has mentioned that he's been through about 20 of the hurricanes in the time that he grew up there. But it is a beautiful, beautiful place to visit and to grow up. And you are the second person telling me that. So, Wally, you were in the industry. You've been in the industry because you still are for 45 years. Was that your dream when you were a child? What was your childhood dream, and how did it connect with what you are doing today?
Well, that's interesting because I didn't really have a childhood dream. I was always an active kid. My mother was always fussing at me for doing something that I shouldn't be doing. But so I went to Miami High School, and there I met some people that kind of got me on the right track as a teenager and got me involved with church and God and helping other people. And
yeah,
there's probably the best reward you can ever have in life is doing for other people. If you stop and think, most of the arguments and selfishness that goes on in this world is over money and me. And people argue over, I didn't get what I want, instead of, what can I do for you today, Juanita? You know what I mean? And where people reach out to others. And I've just found the more you do for others, the happier you will be. And even raising my children, when it came to my birthday, I would take the kids out and buy them presents for my birthday,
yeah.
And it was just a switch. And because I got more joy out of giving than ever receiving.
That's a beautiful energy that you carry, that you have, the faith that you have in the Lord, and spreading that love and that upliftment. And it all starts at home, Wally, the way that we treat our children, that ciphers out to the other areas of our lives. So I commend you on that. I treat my children in a much similar way. In our household, if it's my son's birthday, my daughter also has a present waiting for her. And when it's her birthday, my son also. So it's always celebration time, because they are so special and life is so valuable. And, you went into the industry, and I wanted to find out from you, how did you get into the industry? Which doors did you go through?
Well, that was just God taking control of my life. Because in Miami, I was into automobile racing, where you would go and drive your car in sports car events and like NASCAR, round and round and round and round. And so that was my hobby on the weekends. I would even take the kids from my Sunday school class to the racetrack and watch me race. So from there, when I moved to Los Angeles, California, I was a speech teacher at a Bible college there. And when that Bible college ended up closing up and closing their doors, I didn't know what I was going to do. So I went to work for a very large airline, driving all that equipment. When you look out the window and you see all the equipment with your luggage and freight, and well, that was me out there on the ramp. And the next thing I knew, I became an extra, just a plain old guy in the background as an extra. And I thought, I want to do stunts, because I'd be on shows where I'd see the stuntmen sliding their cars. And I'd, wait, I can do that. I did that at the racetrack and never got paid for it. So one thing led to another, and I moved up from being an extra to precision driver to a stunt man to a stunt coordinator to a stunt director.
Oh, wow.
And I still work in the business. I've done some really fun major TV shows like the Fast and Furious, and I did Dexter and Desperate Housewives and The Office. And one of the main things, 40 years ago, I doubled John Travolta, and I was his stunt coordinator in Greece. And who in the world knew that that would become a mega hit 40 years ago?
Yeah, you mentioned Fast and Furious. I'm a big fan. And then Dexter, my goodness, that series was amazing. You've been involved with so many projects, and I know that your bio mentioned, and I can imagine that there are thrills and dangers in the world of stunt coordination. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, as a stuntman, you're a novice in the beginning, and you've got to learn. And so I did a couple stunts that I probably should have said no to, which ended up, injuring my back. But I was a very giving person, and I would never say no. But now that I've been at it for over 45 years, I know exactly when to say no, and I actually know when to say no to the young men that are coming up and try and guide them and mentor them,
Yeah.
so that they don't get hurt, because it is a very dangerous profession.
Yeah.
And we've lost a lot of really wonderful people, who passed away through stunts and high falls and accidents and crazy stuff. And there's no film worth anybody getting hurt ever. And it's not that I'm some great, amazing stuntman or a daredevil. I just basically worked really, really hard, and I never once was late to work, ever. There's no excuse for being late. And I try to teach that to the young people growing up today. And I would usually get to a movie set an hour early, where I could relax and not worry about traffic or having a flat tire, or get there. And the next thing I know, it always worked in my favor. Directors would come over. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. Can we talk about the day before everybody gets here? And so being dependable and conscientious and reliable, and you as a producer, you knew when you called Wally, the job would be done, not because I'm some great evil Knievel, but I was dependable and I made it happen.
I see two things. I see you mentoring the up and coming, stunt coordinators and stuntmen that you work with, which is wonderful, because you are, sharing that knowledge and experience and helping them also not to get injured. And the second thing that I noticed is that your secret sauce of what you did and the results that you achieved was to be disciplined, work hard and to always be early, to be ready for the day. And that gives off a certain confidence, because when we love what we do and when we are skilled at what we do, we want to be prepared. And I believe in that, Wally. I prepare the evening before for my next day. Because when I wake up, I know exactly where I need to be when and what I'm going to be doing. And that already puts me in a great mindset for the day. So then I am good to go. The good energy is flowing and the prayers are there. Of course, we always trust in God to guide us and lead us. I love that. And we're going to talk about your book as well. But before we get to that, I want to ask you, your journey, what are the moments that you remember? Let's say 3 moments that stood out to you. Let's talk about a funny moment on set. I always ask the producers, directors, and actors that I interview for a funny moment. Let's ask, what injury you have sustained that really stuck with you for a while. And the third thing is the friendships. What friendships did you develop as you moved along on this journey of yours?
Well, let's start with a funny moment, okay? Because
Yeah.
anything and everything I do has to be funny. If I can't be on the set and laugh and have a good time, one day, excuse me, I had an assistant director.
Yeah.
He said, I have to tell you, when I see your name, a call sheet, like the day's work, they'll have everybody listed. That's called a call sheet.
Yeah.
And the actors and the wardrobe and the hair people are all on that call sheet. He says, when I see your name on the call sheet, it brightens my day. I know nothing's going to go wrong. I know if there's a problem, you're going to solve it for me. And you're going to make me laugh and cause trouble all day long. So that was probably the best compliment I've ever had in my life, is to have somebody say that my humor makes their day. So I remember one time in Cypress Gardens, Florida, I was doing a huge boat chase, and the director was from New York, and he was very obnoxious, and his wife was in charge of the wardrobe, and she was just, you just meet people that are rude, that from the minute you get there, they're not very pleasant people. And I try to change that. I tried, but there wasn't anything I could do for this woman.
Yeah.
And we were in really nice tuxedos and during the boat chase. And my other stuntman heard her say, "You make sure that Wally doesn't steal the tuxedo." Like, what in the world would I do with her tuxedo? But it was just that negative attitude, right?
Yeah.
So I had one of the stuntmen go into town and get a 6-foot rubber water moccasin, because we were shooting in the water with the boat chase and the mud and alligators and all of that. So at the end of the boat chase, when the boat exploded, my friend, I had him put the water moccasin down the coat of his tuxedo.
Yes.
So when I jumped in to save him, he's digging out the water moccasin. And I yell, "My gosh, water moccasin." And I grabbed the water moccasin and swung it, and I threw it right at the wardrobe lady. Well, whole set made the news the next day, how in the face of all the danger, the stuntmen still had time for a prank. So that was what I did. If there was a way we could make people laugh and have fun and get my point across to the rude wardrobe gal, that was a fun day. Let's see, moving into your next question, after something funny, I've actually forgotten what you asked.
The injuries.
The next question.
Have you had an injury
Okay.
that took long to heal?
Well, yes, many, many, many years ago, as a young stuntman, I did a lot of practicing jumping automobiles and cars and trucks through the air. But when you're doing car commercials, and I'm actually against advertising dangerous things that cars do, because you know what I mean. You have a commercial, and some young kid looks at that, oh, I can jump my car.
Mhm.
Look, that guy did it. Well, he didn't realize that I've spent hundreds and hundreds of hours building ramps and practicing with old cars, new cars, because you want it to land and not damage the car. But you're putting that on the television. You're showing people what it can do that it should not be doing, truthfully. You show the beauty of the car, the interior, and the paint job, and all that, and off you go. But anyway, I was jumping Ford trucks, and we were really, 20 feet in the air and 100 feet long. And well, when it hits the ground, it hits really, really hard. And in the beginning, before we learned on TV shows like Chips and Dukes of Hazzard and those shows to make the seat cushion, and we didn't have that. So the producer, it's got to be higher. Well, being young, of course, I wanted to please everybody when I said, sir, we've gone as high as we can go. We've gone as far as we can go. We're not doing any more jumps. I should have said that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I broke my back on the next jump, which has been with me for, 40 years. So it's just there. I've had 6 major back operations and rods and screws, and, but I'm okay. I'm great. I'm never going to give up.
No,
Lessons learned,
that's it.
And then Fast and Furious movies, I injured my shoulders really bad. I had a fella hit me when he shouldn't have hit me in my driver's door. You never do a stunt where I crash into the side of your car right where you're sitting. Never. You go in front, behind, the other side. And that broke my shoulder and caused me a lot of problems. But I'm doing great. I'll never give up. I love it. I do it all over again.
I agree. I agree. You are not someone that ever gives up, and you are going to keep going, and that's what you're doing. And I'm sure, being someone that lightens the mood on the set, and likes to engage with people and try to make everybody positive, that you made a lot of friends. Who are some of the friends that you made during these years on the sets?
Well, you do make a lot of friends, but also, I found that the old timers like Rock Hudson and James Garner and some of those older guys, they're not with us anymore. They were real professionals. They didn't cause trouble. They didn't me, and I want this and I want that. Like some of the shows I've worked on, the selfishness is out of control. One actor, well, they got a better motor home than I have. I want a better motor home. And so some of the friendships, they end up, my wife said that I'm a very bad judge of character because she says you like everybody. And she said some of those people are very selfish, and some of them fall into that me category. And it is funny, of all the good friends and people that I felt were good friends, money and selfishness seem to always reign supreme, and I would end up having to disconnect them from my life because they just were too selfish. So it's a tough business, Hollywood and the movie business. And I mean, you think about it. If I took you every day, oh, you need an umbrella, you need sunblock, Juanita, would you like a cup of coffee, all day long? Sooner or later, you think, oh, look at me, I'm so special.
Oh.
And that's what happens to these actors. They're just catered to. And I would like to have the ability as a producer, if an actor caused trouble, showed up late, kill him off, shoot him, find another actor, and let everybody know, wow, they'll replace me in a heartbeat. I better be nice. But anyway, that's the business we're in. And between you and me, I don't feel that an actor that memorizes lines and pretends to be someone else
Yeah.
has the right to tell me how to run my life or vote or politically do this or do that. Just do your acting, stay in the movies, stay out of politics, stay out of controversy.
I agree. I agree. Stay out of all that jazz. Just always treat everybody with dignity. Doesn't matter on which level they operate. I treat the people that I've rubbed shoulders with great, and I've rubbed shoulders with people that are getting by, that are doing great things in their own capacity out there, and I treat all of them the same because I love people, Wally. People are important to me. And we're coming to the place where we're going to start talking about your book. And before we get into the title and what the book entails, I want to ask you, faith is a very important part of our lives. How did faith carry you through, in the years? Because I realized that you had a roller coaster journey. What role has faith played in that journey for you?
Well, I accepted Jesus Christ as my Savior when I was 16 years old, and He took over my life. The Holy Spirit took over, but that doesn't mean we don't make mistakes or do things that we shouldn't. And uh, so my book is about being a struggling Christian, somebody trying to do the right thing. And it's funny. I was going to do a thing. Let me grab Satan here right quick.
Oh,
I, I got this little thing the other day of the devil, right? And it's funny because I think the devil rides on our shoulder constantly saying, do this and do that, And I actually have Jesus in the other room. I was going to do a funny thing with Jesus on one shoulder and the devil on the other, and how we cover up Jesus. We're like, okay. And he's, Wally, don't do that. Don't send that rude email to somebody. And the devil's going, yeah, send it, go ahead, who cares, So we have this battle and constantly. So as they run a new Christian growing up, oh, there you are. My phone just went off. I had to delete them. But anyway, we're always struggling. And that's what my book was about, was the funny stories and the people I've met and the celebrities and the Christian celebrities and the people in our life where we're constantly trying to do the right thing. And I've always been a firm believer in prayer. I mean, as a Christian, God says the Holy Spirit is within us. Well,
Amen.
He's there. It's up to us to wake Him up and say, Lord, I need you. And not always me. And I just, what about, Lord, thank you for today. Yeah. Thank you for my health. Thank you for those injuries that taught me a lesson. Mm-hmm. And in my book, I use the sentence, thank God for unanswered prayer. The things that we pray for that didn't get answered. Yeah. And later down the road, you go, wow, yeah. God sure knew what was in store for me had that been answered. I'd be in a real mess because I can cause enough trouble and be in a mess all on my own. But the things that we for, or the relationship, or, oh gosh, I'm so in love. Next thing you know, you didn't need that person in your life at all. So my whole book is the struggle. It's about letting Jesus, take over. And you see the title of my book is Jesus is My Stunt Double. Oh. Well, that came as a stuntman, like I mentioned in the beginning, when I doubled John Travolta, right? They put a black wig on me and nice poofy hair. We were the same size back then, 40 years ago. And I was John Travolta's stunt double. I worked with Tom Cruise. I can go on and on. So you don't want an actor to get hurt. So as his stuntman, I get the broken back. I get the broken shoulders. Well, what did Jesus Christ do for us, Juanita, on the cross? He was our stunt. And what better stunt double could we have in life? He took the pain. He took the suffering. He was beaten beyond recognition for you and me. So that's where the title Jesus is my stunt double came from. And a lot of people don't understand. Wait, what is that? What are you talking about? Jesus and stunts? And well, Jesus is everywhere. He's in our, he's on that other shoulder while this guy is on this shoulder, trying to tell us what not to do.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've had a good run, Juanita. I've had a great life, and been blessed way beyond anything I deserve.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love the concept of Jesus is your stunt double. I love the concept. I love how you've woven that into your life and how you give honor to Jesus also through your book and through your testimony. That's very important as well, because yes, we are blessed and we are favored and we're anointed and we're appointed, and it's all because of him. And it's such a wonderful blessing to be a child of God. And he gives us each day as a gift. And I love every morning waking up and going out onto my porch and looking at the mountains and just thanking him and enjoying that sunshine. What is the perfect morning for you like? What do you like to do in the morning when you wake up and you realize, whoa, I've got a new day to make a difference? What do you do in the morning?
Well, when I wake up, number one, I thank God that I woke up and that I was able to feed on the bed, and I was able to take my dog out and feed her. And we moved from California because the film business is big here in Georgia. So of all things, I ended up with 4.5 acres of land, and I've got a pig, and I've got 4 baby goats, and I've got chickens, and all the animals. My day is like, wow, I'm alive.
Yeah.
And God has given me another day to make someone's life miserable. Oh, I can criticize. Oh, I can condemn someone, or I can complain. No. He gave me another day to make you or someone else laugh and realize, how wonderful. I mean, my wife told me last night to pray for her friend whose son, is changing his life sexually or whatever to becoming a woman. That's his business. That's none of my business. But he's tried to commit suicide 3 times. I want to get to him. I want to meet him. I want to talk to him. Yeah. Encourage him. It doesn't matter, but you have a life to live and glorious sunshine. And my brother was murdered years ago in Miami, and it just changed my whole family's life. And it's in my book. And he was a Christian, but it was time for God to take him home because of the drugs. And when you stop and think, when you're soliciting drugs and selling drugs and giving drugs, whose lives are you ruining? How many lives did you cause misery to because of this stupid chemical? And God took him home. And I just hope that he was a Christian, that maybe someday God will allow me when I get to heaven to maybe punch him in the nose or something for getting in so much trouble when he was younger. But Juanita, I would rather live my life the way I am and pass away and find out there was no God. This was all a joke, than to live my life not following God and find out this was all really, really real. Mm-hmm. And the other day I put up a new website, JesusIsMyStuntDouble.com, and we're still building it and we're still working on it, and excerpts from the book and pictures. The minute I put it up, I've had 1,200 people in 3 days want to be on the site and And I'm going, what? And Juanita, they're Christians from all over the world, Pakistan and Uganda, and
Wow.
it's and I'm going, wow, God is showing me how powerful
Mhm.
He is. And
I,
we need that. Our country is in dire straits for a reset,
hmm.
and the Lord that we love, I bet is going to come back and kick some rear end. I mean, I'm ready. Enough is the thievery and the politicians and the me,
Hmm.
and you hire a politician and their salary is 200,000 a year. The next thing you know, they're buying a $40 million house. You and I can't afford that,
Oh, snap.
because they're
Yeah.
crooked and they're conniving and they're evil.
Yeah.
And but there's nothing we can do about it but trust the Lord. Lord, it's in your hands. I have no control over politics or whether the voting was legal or not. That's out of my hands. Uh, this guy's in charge of all that, right? And I just unanswered prayer is prayer answered. It really is. I
Hmm.
just thank you so much for here today. It's fun, and
Yeah. It's
I
an
love to
honor.
talk to you. This is
Thank you. It's such an honor to have you here. And your book and everything that you do and the advice that you're giving here on the show today, it's going to touch lives. So I would like to ask, how do we support you in purchasing your book? Where do we go? How can we attain a copy of your book? Please tell the audience.
well. It's funny. The book. It's kind of difficult because I'm a self-publisher, because everywhere I turned around, these publishers, they want 15,000, they want 20,000. If I'm going to spend that kind of money, I want to give the book away. I'm not interested in making money on the book. That
Yeah,
my purpose is to get the word
the word out.
to new struggling Christians, unsaved people who need to hear about Jesus. That's my purpose. So I put it up cheap as can be. I think on Amazon right now is where it's at. You
Wonderful.
can go there, and the electronic copy is under $5. I think you can read the first 80 pages for free, but
Oh,
they can just order the book and read it on your computer. A lot of people do want a copy. So the paperback is under $9, but the pictures are in black and white, and that's not as exciting. So
oh,
it's
wow.
interesting because you upload the black and white, you upload the color, and Amazon has all these stipulations. So I've got to, if I had my way, I'd spend $20,000 and I give the book away. I've probably already given 300 books away.
Oh,
I go to the dentist. Everybody at the dentist wants a copy. I go to the restaurant. I hand them. You go to eat your dinner and with your tip, give her a good tip
yeah.
and give her a book and sign side of it. They love it. It's made their day. So that's where I'm going, and I would love to get on more speaking engagements and even Christian cruise ships where people
Oh,
want to hear about the Lord and fun stories, and I can do some comical stuff, and I play guitar and I sing gospel songs with my
wow.
guitar and my harmonica, and it's all kind of fun. So that's where I'm going with it at my age. And my younger son, he's the one that talked. He said, Dad, I don't want you falling over tables anymore. I don't want you falling downstairs.
Uh-huh.
He said, write write a book and get out there and do what you do best. And he said, telling people about the Lord.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I commend him on that. Shout out to your son because that was a brilliant idea for you to put your life story in that book. And I love the strategy that you use to spread the book and the awareness and to help spread the word, by doing what you're doing, where you're engaging with people, there you are giving them those books. So we'll definitely go and look on Amazon, audience. Go and check it out, the ebook version or the soft copy version. It's there. Type in the title, Jesus is My Stunt Double, and it's by Wally Crowder, a fabulous guest, who we are so honored to have here on the show today. And you know, as we come to the end of this session, I want to ask you one final question, and that is, what words of wisdom do you want to share with the audience today?
Trust and believe, and use prayer. Prayer really, really works. And as a Christian, and Jesus is in us, he's there. Now, you're going to keep silent, but praise. And I pray for everything. I pray going to work. I pray with my wife when we get in the car for safety, and he's there. Use it. And you find that the more you talk to the Lord, and there's nothing wrong with making mistakes, and go, Lord, thank you for the meal. Amen. Yeah. You know, I don't need a long, God knows your heart. I don't need to make an eloquent speech and make everybody think, oh, isn't Wally wonderful? No. God is there. He hears us. And I can just, that's a whole nother thing. I can give you instant after instant where God has answered my prayers. Yeah. And amazing. And people who in my life were ill and dying, and I'd go, Lord, take them home. It's time. And next thing I know, within the hour, they're gone. Yeah. And my daughter, Dad, don't pray for me. I'm not ready to leave the earth yet. So she's like, she knows when I for somebody that's terminally ill and they go home to be with the Lord, she's like, Dad, no, I'm okay right now. Oh, anyway, prayer works. God does day in and day out, 24/7. But also praise and bless the Lord for, like you said, when I wake up in the morning, what do? I want to walk out of that room. I want to make someone else's day happy and joyful in the Lord. And I thank you so much for having me here, that you have blessed me more being here than you can imagine. Thank you.
Thank you, Wally. You are an inspiration, and God bless you. And we appreciate everything that you've shared. We'll be in contact, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you. And time I'm going to prepare Zoom a little better. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.